We are back here to show our fillet of our trout.
Well, it's a nice trout. Who caught that?
My husband. Okay. So this is probably the trickiest part of this whole thing, is getting this filleted. So I'll have you come in. I hold it by the tail end so that I can have my fingers in here. And what we want to do is I'm going to cut the bones right along the spine on both sides. So you start on one side, and the bigger the fish, the stronger the bones. And I'm trying to keep the tip of my knife going in pretty shallow, like that, so I'm not digging into the meat. I'm not ready to dig into the meat yet. Take that all the way down to the neck. Just like that. Not so bad. I was a little worried about having it on film and not being able to get it cut. That turned out good. You can just go to the other side of the backbone. Oh, sure, I had to say that. Now I find a bone that doesn't want to cut. There we go. See, my knife went in a little bit deeper than I wanted, but that's okay. Alright. You can chop that head off if you don't like it there while you're doing this, but sometimes they'll give you something to grab onto. So now that I got that cut, I'm going to take my fillet knife and just follow the backbone down and see if I can pull that meat away from the backbone. Do just a couple scores on each side. And you can see how I'm pulling the backbone down. Turn the fish around. Take your fillet knife right up next to the backbone again. I'm going to cut straight down the tail so I can lay them open. Okay, do the same thing on the other side. This one's a little bit more tricky because you got this fin here. So you want to take that fin off. And this fish hasn't been scaled, so it's got a little bit of slime on it, so it moves around a little bit more than if you had it scaled. But if you're going to fillet it, there's no sense in taking the time to scale it. I'm lifting up on that spine and just scoring the meat away from the bone. Take off the head at this point. Now you got one side completely pulled away. The other side's still stuck to the meat a little bit, but that's okay, because we're just going to pull that bone right out. You do lose a little bit of meat doing this, and you're not getting 100% of the bones, but it'll make a nice fillet. Okay, so there's the backbone. Get rid of it. Next thing you want to do is take off the other fins, because they'll get in your way while you're filleting. Take the tip of your knife and just make a little cut around it. Careful not to cut your fingers. One fin gone. I was really happy to get these fish. We've started the winter out with a really good supply of meat in our deep freeze, and used it up pretty good. So this is our first fresh meat for a while. I've got a fin right here, the back fin, the dorsal fin, that I need to take out, and I want to leave the fish together while I take out the rib cage. So, but we don't want to forget to take that out. So I'm just going to take my fillet knife and fill the bone with where the fillet knife wants to lay, and then just go in a little bit, right up in between the meat and the bone. And the smaller the bones get towards the tail of the fish, a little bit more difficult it is to get your knife up underneath there. Start at the top again and go back down. You can kind of see my knife showing through there. And after you do this a couple times, you'll kind of get the feel of when you can stop cutting and then pull. And run your fingers along, you can feel for bones. I did real good on that side. I don't feel any bones. Flip it around. Do the same on the other side. And it's kind of like cutting your fingernails. One side is really easy, the other side is a little awkward. This direction is always a little awkward for me. But if you let your knife feel where the bone is before you put the pressure, it'll be a bit easier. Yeah, let's see. Lost a little bit of meat there. Now I'm ready to take the fin out and split the fish in half while I'm doing that. And take the tail off. Don't need that no more. Okay, now we're ready to actually fillet it. And it doesn't matter which end you start at. I always choose the end that if I mess it up a little bit, I'm not going to lose as much meat. So if the head is mushy or whatever, then I'll use up there. But usually I start at the tail, unless you want to get it to the edge of the cutting surface, and just do your fillet. If you flip up the meat, you can see how good you're doing as you go. If you need to get close to the skin or not. They do make fancy fillet boards to help with the filleting, but I find they just get in my way. Oh, that's a lot of meat there. End up with the skin. Nice fillet. And you can cook your fillet whole like this, but I find it cooks better if you cut it in half. Okay, so I'm going to fillet up this other side real quick, see how it turns out, and move to the next step. Okay, we'll be right back after we do a little cleanup.